Pacers lose to the Mavericks right here in Gainbridge Fieldhouse. First home game in 3 weeks-ish, and their defense was terrible. A lot of their good players played. They could not stop Dallas at all, but Kobe Brown was quite good. A lot of tank notes from this game, a lot of very important things from young players in the notebook, and we'll get to all of it today on the Locked On Pacers podcast.
You are Locked On Pacers, your daily Indiana Pacers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, everybody? Happy Monday. Hope you had a great weekend, and welcome into another edition of the Locked On Pacers podcast, where we, of course, talk about the Indiana Pacers. As always, my name's Tony East. I cover the team for Forbes and Circle City Spin. And today, Pacers lose to the Mavs right here in Gainbridge Fieldhouse. A tough one for the Pacers. The same issue they've had their last couple games since the break plagues them again. They can't guard at all. Right now, 134 points for the Dallas Mavericks. They scored over 30 in every quarter, 7 straight quarters. The Pacers have done that. They are really struggling on that end of the floor. But Pascal Siakam was back. A lot of guys actually played in this game. Cam Jones started with major players. Kobe Brown set a career high. And I have an important tank note update that we're going to run through at the end and probably do a little bit of something like this very often on this podcast for the rest of this season. But we start with this game and the themes of this game, of which to me there were two. One was Chris Middleton, which we'll get to later in this segment. And two was, of course, as stated after the Pacers lost in DC on Friday night, the defense. Holy smokes, which is really weird how bad it felt. They only lost by 4. And early, I actually felt really good about the Pacers' chances of winning, right? For some people don't want them to win, whatever, but I felt like they were going to, because early in the game, their ball movement, their player movement, their starting five was very well connected. Pascal was playing. He was playing very well, and they were getting early clock looks, and that's generally a good sign that it doesn't take them very long to get to a shot that they like on a possession, right? And it was clicking for them. Pascal Siakam is getting going. He has 7 of the Pacers' first 11 points. He misses a 3 in the first quarter, and he's like roaring in anger. As he gets back on defense, he scores in the very next possession, right? He's clearly very into the game, wants to get it going. Of course, that shows up. We'll talk about him later. He was awesome. But Andrew Nembhard is dunking. Andrew Nembhard's 6th career dunk, 3rd of the season. The bench was very hyped to see Nembhard actually get above the rim, a play that just like is one of those fate from the basketball gods kind of plays. Quentin Jackson, breakaway dunk. He missed it. Stayed with the play, got the rebound, throws it to a cutting Ben Shepherd. The Pacers are scoring. The Mavs have a 3-on-1 fast breaker on second quarter. They blow it, and then Ben Shepherd gets a 3 in the other end. All this stuff is happening, and it's like, okay, the fate is on the Pacers side. Their best players are playing well and very passionate. Their plays that go wrong are actually going right on 2 different circumstances. They're getting looks that they want. Like, you feel good about their chances. They were shooting at or near 50% from 3 for most of the game. They finished 20 for 42 from deep. Like, all these things suggest a win is coming for the Pacers. And yeah, you look up, it's late in the first quarter, not even late. It was like 4 minutes to go. It's 28-25 Mavs. And at that point, when I wrote the note about the score, the Mavs had not missed a single 3. They were very hot from deep early, and that remained for much of the game, but they weren't as hot as the Pacers. It's not even to say that hot shooting cost them. The Mavs actually fell off from deep and still finished at 39%, but the Pacers shot better from 3. The Mavs were just hot early, and you could really see this rough first quarter defense for the Pacers. It felt as similarly poor and as the same thing as the Wizards game that just happened on Friday. They could not, the guy in front of the Pacers player, they could not stop him. They could not keep them from the rim. That led to open threes that the Mavs could easily make, just a pass here, a pass there, boom, boom, open shot, right? It was really brutal, and the Pacers had 9 fouls in the first quarter. The Mavs finished the game with 13 total fouls, right? The Pacers had to foul because they were getting beat so bad. The Wizards just scored 78 points in the paint 2 nights ago. The Mavs had 64 tonight. I consider 50 like an acceptably good game for points in the paint. The Pacers had 48. They were right there, right? They did fine. 64 is a lot. 78 is a crap ton. Like, the Pacers defense has been rough. And you think they could do something about it. They couldn't. They couldn't stop the threes or the drives early. Eventually, the threes stopped going in for Dallas, but the drives were still there. The easy points coming from the foul line were there basically all night. And Brandon Williams, we'll get to him later, but like easy peasy. A lot of guys, Najee Marshall, easy peasy. The Pacers really, really struggled on the defensive end again. And last game, goofy combinations, a ton of injuries. It's the second night of a back-to-back. Their motivations obviously being what they are, you could shrug and be like, yeah, you get it. But also you have to evaluate the players who are playing, and none of them defended well. This time they had their good players, right? Their best players, the ones who usually can defend. Like, this team has been better as a defensive team than an offensive team this year. They could not guard at all in this game. It was pathetic. The Mavs scored with comical ease the whole game. Both teams ripping the net. Brandon Williams was tough for the Pacers to contain. He got to the cup over and over and over. He only made 4 shots, but 6 free throws, 7 assists. He was just coasting around. 15 points. He was plus 15, the highest plus on Dallas. He was the most noticeable impact player because he was the face of all the problems the Pacers had. He had the ball. He puts it on the floor. He's getting to the cup. He's getting deep into the teeth of the defense, and that was over and over for him. Najee Marshall, same thing. The Mavs don't have a lot of guards. Max Christie was their only nominal guard who started the game. He wasn't even that much of a rim pressure guy. He did make 4 twos, but off the bench, Tyus Jones was kind of getting in the lane. Obviously, Brandon Williams was. I mentioned Najee already. Caleb Martin had a few drives. He made 2 twos, right? Just everybody for Dallas living in the paint. And so the Pacers have to figure something out on defense. Look, I understand that some people think these results are good. And to be clear, for the inverse standings and the Pacers' ultimate goal this season of having top 4, top 3 odds, whatever, this is good. This is a good team to lose to for the Pacers, as was the Wizards. No dispute on that. But you have to evaluate the players that are playing and what they're doing, even if they understand the objective of the season. Do something. Defend better than this. Show something. A lot of these guys are auditioning for something next year, bigger roles, certain combinations they might be a part of, being on the team at all in some cases, and no one is defending to the level needed to prove that they deserve a spot or will be helpful. Like, the Pacers could be a pretty good defensive team next year. A Nembhard, Nesmith, Siakam, Zubac's core of defense is very good. Very good. That does not include any second unit players, but like Huff as a backup center would be an above average backup center for defense. TJ McConnell, certainly an above average backup point guard when it comes to defense. Who knows who their 2, 3, 4 will be on the bench next season, but that's some of the roles that are being auditioned for, right? They need to see more, I think, from their defense in these games, even if losing and winning is not as important of a goal. The wins and lessons part of the season right now are teaching them a lot of lessons about needing to be better on defense, even with the available players that they have. After the third quarter of this game, they'd already given up 100 points, meaning through the last 6 quarters for the Pacers at that time. So from the second quarter of Pacers-Wizards to the end of the third quarter tonight, they gave up 212 points. And then they gave up 31 more in the fourth, which was actually their fewest allowed in a quarter of this game. I'm really overstating the point because it was just miserable. Super bad, the Pacers on defense since the All-Star break. Even with all that, the Pacers scored 130 points. Jarris Walker took a 3 at the basket right behind me with a chance to cut the deficit to 1 inside the final 10 seconds. It's not like the Pacers were so miserably disconnected or terrible in this game. They did some good things. Their offense showed some growth, but they have defended just terrible of late, and they defended terrible in this game against a team that had lost 10 games in a row. Albeit both teams put their best foot forward, put their best guys on the floor all night. Pacers could not get it done. Their defense was the reason why. And one particular player that many a Pacers fan knows much about was a huge problem for the Pacers. Chris Middleton. That guy ripped the Pacers up in a heated Bucks-Pacers rivalry of yesteryear. He was a monster in the middle of it and gained, I think, in my opinion, a lot of respect from Pacers fans just in that, I felt like most fans hated Giannis or Dame and the way they handled that series and a lot of other role players, their attitudes, and Middleton just quietly never missed in this building. He did it again tonight. He was amazing. 11 for 15, 25.7 boards, 7 assists. The Mavs won his minutes by 5. The Pacers just had no answers for him at all. They couldn't stay in front of him when he would try to attack or do some crafty, over-the-shoulder spinning move. He was left way too open beyond the arc a few times when he would kind of plant himself in the corner. He made a huge 3 right in front of the Pacers bench that felt very reminiscent of Pacers-Bucks Game 6 in this building 2 years ago. That's just what he does. And he's not super fast or super athletic. He's just a good shot maker that you got to kind of try to stay with or can't lose on the perimeter. And very much a face of a poor defensive team and the symptoms that come with that. So that, to me, I guess this goes hand in hand with poor defense. But if you need me to point to 2 things that really cost the Pacers in this game, terrible defense, very obviously the number one thing. And then even in moments where they defended okay, Chris Middleton ripped them up, made shots over their head all night. They couldn't stop fouling P.J. Washington. They could not keep Brandon Williams out of the lane. And that is a loss. That is the 3rd in a row for the Pacers since the break. They're 15-43. The Pelicans won last night. So that is 3 or 4 teams now with 15 wins. The Pacers, the Nets, and the Wizards currently sit in that range. The Wizards have 16 now. And then the Kings obviously lagging behind with 12. Everybody else a little higher now in the inverse standings. We'll get to all of that later. I have so much more to get to from this game. Kobe Brown, first home game as a Pacer. He's balling. Look at that. Jarrett Swagger did some good stuff. Cam Jones started and played with starters. There's a lot more I want to discuss from Pacers Mavs coming up here on Locked On Pacers. But first, everybody, I got to talk to you about two great groups of people. First up is Prize Picks. Shoot your shot on Prize Picks. Get $50 instantly. So when you play your first $5, Prize Picks is giving you $50 in lineups when you sign up and play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks makes every dunk, every dime, and every board that much more exciting. It's America's #1 app for sports picks. It's simple to play. Just pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections. If your picks are right, you cash in. You can choose from basketball, baseball, hockey, soccer, UFC, and more. They've got features like early payouts and flex play, so you've got options. While the games are still happening, you can download the app. See how easy it is to get started. It'll just take you a couple minutes. Make your NBA lineups around players you already follow. Pick more or less on their points or assists or whatever. It makes every possession more fun to watch. There's also a social feature where you can see what other people are playing, copy lineups with one click, and it's available in all 50 states. So download the Prize Picks app today. Use the code LOCKEDONNBA to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That is code LOCKEDONNBA to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, it is good to be right. We are back here on Locked On Pacers. Thanks for making us your first listen today and every single day, or second listen. Locked On Mavs, the first time the Mavs will be talking about a win since, I believe, January 22nd, a full month in between wins for the Dallas Mavericks. Cooper Flagg was here, did not play, but they have some good players in that team. They should presumably win more than once every 11 games. The rest of the season, the Locked On Mavs guys will break down a good game from some players that may or may not be in the Mavs' futures. They have clearly entered the tank race. Again, we'll talk about that later, but that is, I believe, win number 20 for the Mavericks of Dallas. And hey, check out the Everydayer Club. Get Locked On Pacers ad-free on the Everydayer Club, plus a members-only Discord. You can join at the URL in the description of this episode if that sounds like something that would be for you. Okay. Also, apologies still. My camera is just officially broken, so I have to use my laptop camera for this. I'm getting a new one, I promise. Okay. Sorry. Back to the game after all that stuff. First of all, let's talk about Kobe Brown. Whew, 7 points, 3 rebounds in the first quarter. That's his first game at home with the Pacers at all, right? He had only played on the road 4 times, and then he's like driving and he's hitting a tough spinning layup. He's getting contested offensive rebounds in the middle of a bunch of other guys. He finished on the glass, I believe, with 7 offensive rebounds that tied for the lead with the Pacers with the center, Micah Potter. He looks great on the glass. He's making shots like crazy right now. He drilled threes in this game, 3 of them to be exact, plus 2 foul shots, plus 2 of his 5 twos went in. They lost his minutes by 10, but he had 15 points, did Kobe Brown. That's notable because he had never scored 15 points before, not even with the Clippers. He spent 2.5 seasons with the Clippers. He never scored 15 points. His 5th game with the Pacers, Kobe Brown scored 15 points. Look at that. Good stuff. So, first of all, he does seem to work in this style of play. I asked him after the game if he'd ever really played a random style like this, or you know what, a lot of players struggle quickly getting this style. J Huff, for example, this year, it took him a minute to get into it. Kobe Brown right away, no problem. The openings created by other Pacers players, the ball comes to Kobe Brown, it doesn't die. He keeps the advantage alive. He drives. He can pass well enough. He's made enough shots for now, right? This is all very good. He hasn't played it since high school, but it seems very natural for him. I think that's part of what's made him look pretty good. The stat I tweeted after the game that I find remarkable, he already right now has more double-digit scoring games with the Pacers than he did with the Clippers in 2.5 years. He had 2 with the Clippers in 2.5 years. He already has 3 with the Pacers, right? He is legitimately playing pretty well right now. The glass eating is the big thing, I think, that is more sustainable. Well, perhaps the efficiency is, right? The numbers suggest it's not, but a new system can do wonders for guys, as it did for Jalen Smith in a very similar situation here, right? So credit to Kobe Brown. He is playing legitimately well. Now, I'm seeing a lot of very excited takes about this. I don't mean to poo-poo the parade, but don't get irrationally excited off a career game. Right? It was a career high night. It should not be the expectation yet. If he does it more, that's great. Yeah, of course. If he does it more times, then his expectations go up. But he is, however, raising his expectation with 3 straight double-figure games, ripping the net on threes, finding a way to impact the game on the boards every single night, moving his feet well enough, and fitting their style. That matters a lot. If he keeps doing it for a couple more games, I will talk about what I think I would do about it when it comes to free agency or keeping him next season, because there's seemingly no spot in the rotation for him at all. Next year, he's not been better than Jarris, and they love Shep, and they might have a draft pick, right? There's just no spot for him to play, but keeping him as a depth piece, it's certainly creeping into the I should probably talk about this part of the conversation, because he's playing that well. He was awesome in this game. deserving the minutes that he's getting and should continue to play, right? I said when I did the transactions the Pacers could still make podcast for the rest of the season, I said, if Kobe Brown plays bad, perhaps the Pacers could just waive his expiring contract if they want to take a look at somebody else. Forget that. Unless he really starts stinking it up, there's no way that's even in the mind of a front office person. He's playing legitimately very well and deserves all the praise he's getting. And if he sustains it, that's obviously of major significance for the Pacers because he was just like a generic part of this trade. Okay, lots of other guys I want to get to really quick. One, Jarris Walker, very fun moment early in this game. He's gotten so much better at not doing this, which is funny. He defended with his hands so much early in his career, and they had to really get him out of that habit, even though he likes doing it. Like he admitted he wants to get back to doing it every so often in an interview earlier this season, and he did it early in this game. Perfect. Sit in a stance, poke the steal away from Middleton. That's how he should do it. Use his body first, then do it. Sets up Cam Jones for a bucket in transition. He had double-digit scoring in the first half. He had a tidy touch pass in the lane for an assist to Jay Huff. He actually scored in this game, 18 points, but right now it's happening, right? He was making threes for forever in the middle third of the season. That was great. It got him back on the floor. His confidence went up. The confidence in him went up. The trust, that matters. But then I said the next thing has to be something else. Is it going to be twos? Is it going to be defense? What's it going to be? He is doing everything right now. Good passing, better rebounding. Siakam joking that Jarris is stealing some of his rebounds. 2 steals in this game. He's doing a lot of very good things in this one. He got blocked by Marvin Bagley on a left, but I love that he tried to punch a left-handed dunk. Like Jarris never does stuff like that. He continues to impress me, and a lot of people thought I was overdoing the praise for him after the last game, but I don't think so, man. I think this has been a huge step for him in that he's doing put the ball in the basket things, and that's been a big part of recently for him this season. Good or bad game was just making threes. Now it's not. He can miss threes and have good games right this second. He did make threes in this game. He was 4 for 7, of course, but I think that's very significant for him. Quentin Jackson, same kind of deal. He makes a 3. He makes a cutting layup. A little bit of everything. What is left to say? He's just clearly good. And then at one point, it's the fourth quarter. I'm like, same thought I had in the Wizards game. Quentin Jackson's been quiet for a while. And I look and he's 8 points and 4 dimes. And it's like, that's a great stat line for a bench guard. He's just a good player and does good things and should be on the team on a different kind of contract in the next week or so. It felt like all the Mavs offensive rebounds in this game were of major consequence. I looked at the end of the game expecting that gap was going to be wider, but it was 9 to 10 in offensive rebounds. So I don't know if the Mavs just timed them well or finished the plays better in this game. The second chance points only favored them by 2, but I think they were all of major consequence or during a big run and made them feel very significant. The rebounding battle felt more skewed than it was. Jay Huff had some nice moments of inside the arc pressure in this game. Sometimes it feels like his best games come in that way. This was not a best game for him, but he missed all of his threes and still found his way to 9 points with some drives. They were really overplaying him on the perimeter, even with the missed threes, countering some strong reactions, to his popping out behind the perimeter. I thought he did a good job handling that on getting to the rim. 2 lefty drives, or from the left side drives, I should say. 1 nice reverse layup where he drew a foul. So that's always good when he can add more to his game than just make threes high scoring, don't make threes low scoring. Andrew Nembhard, I had no typed notes for a single possession outside of him getting hit in the Nembhards at one point in the game. It looked very painful. But he finishes with 22 and 11 on a game where I took no notes on him. That says a lot about the standard that he has set for himself. Since I talked about standards for Kobe Brown and Jarris, I'll talk about him for Drew. He's just a very good point guard now. He can score a lot and he can pass a lot, and it just looks quiet sometimes. Made half his shots, made half his threes, made all of his free throws, 22 and 11, and not one play made it into my notes. That's the standard that Andrew Nembhard has deservedly set for himself. Pascal Siakam returns from injury / personal / all-star. 30 points, 8 rebounds. Turns out he's still very good. 12 for 19. A few regrettable plays, I think, in clutch time for him, including a charge for a turnover. He did have 5 turnovers and 4 fouls. He missed a very long takeoff on a layup, but 30 and 8 is 30 and 8. And I asked him after the game about his hamstring injury. He did mention that it's a thing, right? That he's played through it. Obviously, he didn't say that part, but he knows that it's something that the team is monitoring, and he has to listen to them when it comes to playing and not playing and things of that nature. That is, of course, of major significance at his age. Who knows how, he said it didn't bother him at all tonight, for example. So who knows how damaging it could be, if it's even that serious, or, of course, certainly some other motivations in keeping Pascal Siakam out of games right now. But he did at least speak to that after the game. The other Siakam-related thing is a Cam Jones-related thing. Late in the third quarter, classic Pacers action. Pascal Siakam screens for the guard. If both defenders go to Siakam, the guard has a lane. If they switch, Siakam is usually now being guarded by a tiny guard, and he can get the ball. If they don't switch, then the guard usually has space in the screen. And so Siakam screens for Jones, and Jones dribbles kind of the left and then just kind of drifts behind the three-point line with the ball. And then the defender from the corner can just lift up and kind of guard Jones, and then Siakam's being double-teamed, so nothing is open. This action has created nothing because Jones didn't go to the rim or go far enough away from Siakam to make the defender decide which one of Jones's drive or Siakam they're going to defend. The play gets blown up, nothing happens, and then the quarter ends, and Siakam talks to Jones and is like explaining what, the specifics of that play. Then at one point in the fourth quarter, Siakam catches it kind of at the right elbow, maybe a little farther out than that, and Jones is right by him on the perimeter. He's telling Jones to cut through. Sometimes that looks like really harsh criticisms, like telling a guy where to go and when to do it and what to do. And to be clear, like you'd hope everybody just flows from thing to thing very easily. But that is the value of playing Cam Jones in situations like that. He started tonight. He played a lot with Drew. He played a lot with Pascal. He can learn in those situations with the better players what is the natural thing for him to do when he doesn't have the ball as much, when he's playing with talents who are better than him, because most guys get to the NBA and they're among the best players in their team all the time, right? So he, as a point guard, is going to have to learn how to handle those situations. I found those moments fascinating. Jones did not miss a shot in this game, 4 for 4, 3 assists, 10 points. But certainly, of course, clearly, as you literally could see, working through many things in this game. And that is all my notes from Pacers Mavs. But that does not mean we're done, because this was a bottom 8 team versus bottom 8 team game. And Tyrese Haliburton has shingles. What? We have so much more to get to close out today's Locked On Pacers. Everybody, quick break. We got about to talk about two great groups of people. First up is FanDuel. Ever wanted to experience the NBA Finals live and in person? FanDuel is giving you the chance to turn that dream into reality with their NBA sweepstakes. Here's how it works. Use your profit boost on any NBA future. You will automatically be entered for a shot to win an NBA Finals trip for 2. That's right. Flights, tickets, the whole experience. If you're already looking at the board and thinking about which teams can make a deep run, this is the perfect time to lock it in. Futures this time of year, whether it's picking a team to win the championship or just grab a conference title, they're fun. They add an extra layer of excitement. And now, not only can your pick cash, you can also send you to the final. So visit FanDuel.com to get started. Use your profit boost on an NBA future and get entered for your chance to win a trip to the NBA Finals. Play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Let me also talk to you guys about TurboTax. Tax season doesn't just have to take over your life. This year, TurboTax is making it easier than ever to just hand things off and move on with your day. With TurboTax full service, you can have your taxes done for you by a trusted local expert start to finish without the stress or guesswork. Instead of spending hours trying to figure out forms, you can meet with a local TurboTax expert in person or connect online. They handle everything from W-2s to self-employed forms. They work to get you every deduction. You can just upload your tax documents, go about your day, and get updates right in the app. It's a huge time saver. Real peace of mind knowing that an expert is handling it. So for a limited time, you can have your taxes done by a local TurboTax expert for just $150 all in. If a TurboTax expert didn't file for you last year, just file by February 28th. Take taxes off your plate. Get back to your life. Visit TurboTax.com/local to book your appointment today. We are back here on Locked On Pacers. Thanks for making this your first listen today and every single day. Make your second listen. Lots of interesting games in the NBA, but the Nets, who the Pacers want to win, were winning by 7 in the fourth quarter, and then went like 2 of 20 the rest of the game. They lose the Hawks. The Hawks have big investments in the tank race too via the Pelicans pick. Locked On Hawks or Locked On Nets for your second listen today, or if anything crazy happens later tonight after I record. It's only like 8:30 right now. You can also check out any of those shows. We have a Locked On show for every single NBA team. Okay, let's keep going. First of all, update, Tyrese Haliburton. He has shingles. Whoa, that's crazy for somebody in their 20s. Yes, not good at all. That from hearing from other people about it, I don't think I know anybody who's gotten it, or if I do, they've never told me about it, that it hurts very bad. It's very painful. He's going to be away from the Pacers for like 2 to 3 weeks. Rick Carlisle says they expect him to make a full recovery. It developed very recently. I believe he traveled for All-Star, right? So super recent development. That first of all, sucks. For him, it's painful. If it lingers beyond this season at all, a problem in some ways. But most importantly, in a season like this, just another thing. Just another thing for the Pacers. One, that it's something bothering their star player. And two, look, Haliburton's not playing. He is a very high vibes guy. Like, being around him is fun and enjoyable and makes your day better if you're another player. Same kind of deal with Obi Toppin, right? Haliburton being away hurts. It hurts the vibes, right? Some of you might be like, yay, they might lose more, and that's fine. A lot of people think that way, but that is a legitimate hit to their team and their team morale. But of course, if he recovers and it does not linger to next year, it is a blip in the middle of a season he's already not playing. If it does have any sort of long-term impact, that is, of course, a major problem. You can read about this in lots of places. I was cracking up at how many outlets wrote a story about this and just copied the quotes straight out of Dustin Dopirak's story in the Indy Star. Thank God they were able to use his access to write a great story. Sorry, I'm ranting. So Support your local journalists that you enjoy. And I'm sorry for soapboxing so much recently. So many media things are making me upset of late. Okay, here's what I actually wanted to talk about in the third segment. Is this game was the fourth in a row for the Pacers game where maybe you could not argue this because the Pacers played Siakam till the final buzzer. Chris Middleton was balling. The Mavs played their guys. But, like, you could easily squint and look at the standings and go, okay, both of these teams have a theoretical motivation to lose. And, of course, Pacers-Wizards was that twice. Pacers-Nets was that 4 in a row for the Pacers. And they play the Grizzlies next weekend, who also fall in that category. So it's like, man, they're playing a lot of these. But after they play the Grizzlies, one, the Pacers don't have any more of those games here. They play the Kings in Sacramento, and they play the Nets on April 9th in Brooklyn. That game might be hilarious unless the top 4 of the lottery is already set by then. So I only bring that up to say, one, if you hate these games because they feel weird, and they do, there's only 3 more of them, which is great news. I think the thing that's actually great news if you're the Pacers is 3, as I believe, the fewest of any team in this race. So there's this bottom 8, right? The Kings at the worst, and then this Pacers, Nets, Wizards, Pelicans quartet gets you to 5, and then the Jazz are in 6th, and then the Mavs and the Grizzlies are right there, and maybe the Bulls, they keep losing every night, get in this somehow, or the Bucks are trying clearly, so maybe not. So I think it's 8, and then the Bulls are like, can they actually get in this? Who knows? Those bottom 8 teams play each other a lot, and that's why it's relevant that the Pacers only have 3 more games that actually overlap, right? According to Tankathon, now that they've played there's 2 games against the Wizards and game against the Mavs, the Pacers have the 5th hardest schedule left in the entire NBA. The Wizards are ironically 1 spot ahead of them, but the Pacers play the Kings, the Nets, and the Grizzlies. That's it. That's their only remaining games against other bottom 8 teams. They do also play the Bulls, if you want to count them in this mix as well. I think that's the fewest, and we'll run through all of them right now, of any team in the bottom 8. And I think even if you want the Pacers to win every night, everything I'm about to tell you is going to be good news, because that means some of the other teams around the Pacers in the standings are going to win a lot. For example, the Wizards, who on paper have an easier schedule the rest of the way than the Pacers, but they play more games. They still play the Nets, the Pelicans, the Jazz twice. That's 4 games. And then the Bulls twice if you want to count them as well. So they have more games against teams that might / definitely have incentive to lose. The Pelicans are very confusing. In all of this, they don't have their pick. The Grizzlies still play the Kings, the Pacers, the Nets, the Jazz, and the Mavs twice. They have 6 more games that fit that category of another game against a bottom 8 team. The Mavs still play the Kings, the Nets, the Pelicans, and the Grizzlies twice. That's 5 more games against teams in this category. The Jazz still play the Kings, the Pelicans 3 times, the Wizards twice, and the Grizzlies. Like, one of these teams is going to win all of these games. The Pelicans still play, and some of these games are obviously overlapping. The Pelicans still play the Kings twice, the Wizards once, the Jazz, like I said, 3 times, and the Mavs once. And the Kings themselves have a Pacers game, 2 Nets games, 2 Pelicans games, a Jazz game, a Mavs game, and a Grizzlies game. Is my point made? There's going to be a lot of wins that get picked up among these teams around the Pacers because there's going to be a lot of games where somebody has to win. The Pacers do have 3 more of those games themselves, but they only have 3. Every other team I just mentioned has way more than that. So that is, I think, majorly helpful for them late in the season, is that they're going, one, they'll be able to play their guys a little bit more freely than some of the other teams. But 2, they have harder games. They have a lot more games against teams that are going to be more motivated to win or more challenging to defeat. And if you're a person rooting for them in the inverse standings, I would think that's good news. And if you're a person rooting for the Pacers to win every night, but you still want their draft pick to be good, great. A lot of teams around them in the standings are going to pick up wins because somebody has to win those games, right? So there's a lot of those that'll happen every week. There was just Grizzlies Jazz the other night. The Grizzlies won at home, for example. There's going to be a bunch of those, right? So as much as if the Pacers win 1 game this week and everybody goes, oh my gosh, there's going to be a bunch more wins. The Pelicans just beat the Sixers, right? It's going to happen sometimes, but keep those games, the many games that I just explained to you, in mind. I think starting next week, it will be officially March 1st. Next Monday, I'm going to double check that. It'll be March 2nd, next Monday. I usually in March start doing standings watch for a segment every Monday. We'll do that starting next week. Not the same as in years past, because it's not about the playoffs, it's about the bottom of the standings, but keep you up to date on who's winning, who's losing near the bottom, what their schedule is, key games to watch, all sorts of things of that nature. And that, everybody, is Pacers Mavs. Love an early game so I can do the podcast in the arena before going home. Thank you all so much for listening today. You can find me on social media at Tony R. East, and this podcast at Locked On Pacers on many outlets. Thank you all so much for listening. Back tomorrow talking more Pacers, presumably with the guest. I need to get on that. Thank you all for listening. We'll see you very soon.